Hello and welcome to another great episode of the Optimize Show. I am David Mamano, your host every Wednesday morning, a brand new show with great guests where we are talking to them about how they optimize their business, their life, etc., so that we can share the best practices and high tide raises all the ships. Today I have on the show the great and wonderful Kimberly Jones. Kimberly, welcome.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
You're phenomenal. You're doing some great things in Rochester. We're very honored to have you here.
That's nice to hear.
So Kimberly is president and CEO of Butler Till.
Yes.
Which, as we were talking before, what a great company.
It is a phenomenal company.
It's an incredible company. It's been fun to
lucky.
watch. Like I remember, Sue Butler and Tracy Till when they actually started the company.
Yeah, back in 1998.
Yeah. I was still with running my magazine.
That dates you a bit.
What's that?
That dates you a bit.
That dates me a little bit. Well, I met Tracy when actually I was in radio sales and she was running an ad agency in town. So I even met her before that.
Yeah.
But great people starting a great company. And I love what you said because the company has evolved into the trifecta of awesomeness, right? And we're going to get into this, but what does that mean? It means that you are woman-owned.
Yes.
There's one great check mark.
Yep.
You are an ESOP,
Yes.
employee-owned company. There's another great check mark. And you are a certified B-Corp, but we're going to talk about that as well.
Wonderful.
So first tell us about Butler Till. What do you guys do?
So Butler Till is a marketing and media agency. Increasingly, we're focused on media technology, planned media buying, and social media content development, creative development, really anything that helps our brands, our clients connect their respective products and offerings with their clients and consumers.
Awesome. And you have a semi-brand new building downtown.
Yes.
Right?
We celebrated our 2-year anniversary not too long ago, so we moved downtown actually at the end of 2021, and we love being downtown. We're right on the corner of Broad and Clinton, and it's just a great place to be, the vibrancy of the city and just being connected to everything that's going on downtown.
Beautiful building.
Thank you.
And I think some businesses have popped up around it.
Yeah.
Just, that area is coming alive, right? Some new restaurants and all that stuff too. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a nice place to be. I think it's great for our clients and our employees that like to work downtown.
Well, Rochester needs it, right? Like that's downtown. I know that it's somewhat of a renaissance. So
Absolutely.
I'm glad you guys are part of that.
Yeah, it's a great place.
So how did you get started there? When did you start working there? What was your journey?
Well, with Butler Till or downtown?
Butler Till.
Butler Till, let's see. I'm celebrating my 15th anniversary at Butler Till this year, so it's been quite a journey. And I remember initially getting the call from Tracy Till, whom I've known also for a very, very long time, and we've worked together in different capacities over the years. And she called me 15 years ago and said, hey, why don't you come over and be, at that time, it was the vice president of digital media. And seemed like a good time. Certainly, I love the company, I love the people, I was very familiar with most of the folks that were there at the time, and so it just seemed like it was the right thing to do. Fast forward, the company has changed, has grown, has gone through a lot of different transformations. I've held a number of different leadership roles. I became the president in 2015, which also kind of coincided with the time that we were becoming 100% employee owned. So I credit Sue and Tracy with really having that vision of both the succession plan and ultimately their exit strategy. So 2015, we had a new leadership team that I was lucky enough to be a part of, and then I became the CEO in 2020. So I don't need to tell you about some of the challenges of being a new CEO in 2020.
Yeah.
They were
Congratulations.
momentous.
Oh, there's a pandemic to celebrate.
Here you go. Deal with this. So it did bring about a number of challenges, but it was also in some ways a really interesting time to become a new CEO because they were challenges that nobody had really faced before. And so I found myself able to talk to different peers, other CEOs that were going through the same things, obviously, also for the very first time. So I didn't feel like I was at a disadvantage because I was a brand new CEO.
Yeah.
And the COVID years, while hard, I think it brought our agency together. Like it was a bit of a rallying call, I think, for most companies where it said, who are you? What do you want to be? How are you going to continue to serve your clients and your employees amidst such, challenging times and turmoil? And our agency really came together in a very strong way, and I'm proud of all the work that we accomplished over those years.
Yeah. Yeah, well, a lot of times, what's the saying? Pressure creates diamonds.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so you're
I love
really,
that.
tough times are forging great leaders.
Right.
Right. We remember Abraham Lincoln because he was president during the toughest time of our country.
That's right.
We don't remember some of the presidents in like the late 1800s who, the times were better. Like what was that president's name? What did he, so.
Right,
So
that's a good perspective.
Yeah.
And we decided just not to slow down during those times. I mean, I think you could have said that, hey, now would be an appropriate time to take your foot off the gas, and we chose not to. So like I said, we moved into our brand new building at the end of 2021, which means that we broke ground in spring of 2021 also. And so we were going through all of the planning and the development for our downtown headquarters right in the smack middle of COVID. But what it did allow us to do is really be thoughtful about the type of environment that we wanted people to come back to. And I felt a great onus to say, how could we create an environment that people can't recreate at home? So it was a time, people were really enjoying the flexibility that they had, and they liked working from their, their kitchen counter or their dining room table.
Right.
And but we said, there are going to be times when people are going to want to come back, and they're going to want things like ergonomic chairs and sit-to-stand desks and all of the technology that they need at their fingertips. And so it was kind of fun to reimagine what our workspace would be in light of that situation.
You just made me think it was kind of a great advantage because all this happening, and you get to take that all into account as you design your office.
Absolutely. We didn't have to retrofit anything.
Yeah.
Because there was nothing there.
Yeah.
Literally from the ground up. So we were able
Right.
to really imagine, like, what's the workplace of the future?
Yeah.
And how do we want to create this from scratch? And I'm really proud in what we accomplished.
Yeah,
in
that sounds
regard.
good. I got to come over and get a tour.
You absolutely should. Yeah. Welcome anytime.
Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Let's go over the trifecta. So you are woman-owned.
Yes.
So tell me
women
about
owned
that.
and led. So we're certified at WBE, so Women Business Enterprise. It's a certification process that we go through regularly, and it just means that obviously women led. I'm a female, but also the majority of both our employees and our shareholders, which, as you pointed out, happen to be our employees, are also predominantly female. And so it's just a designation that says that, yes, we are women-led, women-owned. And it's something, that I think we're proud of, but also we recognize the contributions of all of the men of Butler Till too.
Right, do you allow men? I'm just
We
kidding.
do, we absolutely do. We allow them, we love them, they contribute significantly to our organization.
Yeah, they feel special, right?
Yeah, but I think what it really says is that, we are a company that wants to be inclusive. And so, yes, we're woman-owned, but we want to be inclusive of, both genders, of all races, ethnicities, physical abilities, et cetera.
Yeah.
So I think that's the main takeaway from it.
Yeah. No, that's incredible, and leading the way in that too, right? I mean, I just was reading a case study of how Xerox in the early '80s was being cutting edge by hiring 2 women to be on their national sales force, which today sounds ridiculous,
Right.
Right? We're hiring women to be on, but back then, it's kind of sad, but I guess they were leading the way by putting women on their national sales force, and now today. It's like, a company like yours is probably at least 80% women, and you guys are doing a phenomenal
Maybe not
job.
quite that high, but yes, predominantly female
can
for
strive for
sure.
it,
Yes. And the other thing that's interesting, and again, not something that we necessarily set out to do, but we also have an all-female board.
Oh, wow.
So, including myself, we also have 4 outside directors, all of whom happen to be female. Like I said, we didn't intentionally go out and say we're only going to recruit female directors. It just happened to be that those 4 women were the most qualified for the job, and I think they and we are doing a pretty darn good job.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because it just kind of happened, right? And I think pretty soon we're going to be, maybe the next stage of this is we're not really going to even think about if it's a woman or a man. It's just like the best person for the job, right?
Right. Let's hope. Yes, I think that's what we're striving for.
Yeah, I mean, a few years ago I was emceeing an event on technology, and I was emceeing this. It was a panel of 5 women tech business owners. And I just felt like it doesn't even, don't take this the wrong way, but I'm like, it almost doesn't matter that you're a woman because you're just qualified.
You're just
the
a
job
tech leader
as a human, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And I think that's probably the next evolution of where we're going, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that we are definitely on that journey.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I hear such great things about your company. So that is number one in the trifecta. Number two, we talked about it, the ESOP.
Yes.
What does that stand for, just so everybody knows?
Employee Stock Ownership Plan. So it's a very technical term that describes really the ownership model of the company. So our company, unlike other companies that might be owned by a single founder individual, or in some cases it's publicly owned, we are owned by all of our employees. So if you are lucky enough to come work for Butler Till, after 1,000 hours, which is roughly half a year, you would be eligible to receive an allocation of stock the next year. So our company is valued every single year. So we have stock, and that stock is valued, and we distribute the shares to all of our employee owners. And it's really meant to be a retirement benefit. So when they eventually retire from Butler Till or leave the company, they will be given the value of those shares in cash.
Great.
Which is an extraordinary benefit. But in addition to the financial benefit, I think there are a lot of cultural benefits. We really try to emphasize the ownership culture. And I think that if you asked most of our employee owners, they would say that they really feel like they have a voice within the management of Butler Till. We have a very high degree of transparency because all of our employees also happen to be owners. We're very transparent with the financial situation of the company, our strategic plan, what our ambitions are with our respective clients. And I think that that goes a long way to create accountability, to create loyalty, to create a high degree of engagement. Like, our employees want to do good on behalf of the company because it's also in their best interest as owners.
Yeah. No, I've talked to a number of ESOP company owners, and it seems like it increases the accountability of everybody.
Oh,
Whereas,
for sure.
you may see two people kind of chit-chatting too much by the water cooler, you might say, hey, let's get back to work here.
Right. We talk a lot about the virtuous cycle that it kind of creates, because we give our employees a great deal of empowerment and the ability to make decisions that they believe are in the best interest of our clients and our company. They create higher degree of client satisfaction among all of our clients because they're more invested in the outcomes of our clients. Our clients tend to stick with us longer, and just so it goes.
Yeah.
And so I really do believe in this business model. I think that a lot of other companies have something to learn from it.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it helps you optimize the culture.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, just about every single metric that I can think of. So employee satisfaction is significantly higher than the norms. Client satisfaction is significantly above the norm. We have lower turnover. We have higher client retention. We have higher growth versus our peers within the industry.
Yeah. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I know people that have worked there for a while, and so like you said,
our people stick around.
Yeah, that's good, and that's not always true in the ad agency business, right?
Right.
So,
yeah, you're talking about an industry that can have turnover of up to 40%.
Right.
Which is kind of crazy, and
Right.
ours is significantly lower than that.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to say that we have more than a handful of people that have been there for, at this point, decades.
Wow.
So I've been there 15 years,
Yeah.
but there are many people that have been there longer than me,
That's
which I think
great.
is pretty incredible. And if you look at even our leadership team, most of us have worked alongside each other for at least a decade.
Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah.
So phenomenal.
I mean, it creates, just think about it. Once you get to know somebody that well, like it's just a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
We work together very, very well. I think that we understand the vision that we've set for the company, and we are all moving in the same direction.
I remember interviewing you years ago for a radio show I was doing, and it's coming back to me how you're such like a calming force of nature. You're very calm, but you're running a big show.
I hope my family would agree with that.
Well, behind the curtain, we'll talk to your husband. But you're running a big show, big operation, right? A lot of moving parts, and I know that you work out, you run, you do yoga, eating well, all that great stuff.
Yeah.
So optimizing your personal health and wellness. But how do you, as a leader, and I'll say maybe as a president and CEO, what do you find yourself doing every day? What is the main thing that you are doing every day to make sure that the whole company is running on all cylinders?
Well, I think one thing that's critical for anybody leading a company as large as Butler Till is you have to love what you do.
Yeah.
And so I go to work every day thinking, oh my goodness, I get to lead this wonderful company and I get to work alongside all of these wonderful people. So the old adage is true, find a job that doesn't feel like work. And I think that I found that in Butler Till. So it doesn't feel like a burden or a sacrifice to have to get up and go to work every day. That said, I do think that any leader, really anybody, I guess, needs to be able to take care of themselves so that they in turn can take care of others. And so I do try to be mindful of, kind of my mental, physical, and spiritual self so that I can bring my best self to work and contribute fully and make sure that I'm giving each and every one of our employee owners the best that I can give. So eating
Awesome.
well, running, yoga, kind of making sure that there's a little bit of space just to think and be present. Really important.
Need to recharge and reset.
Well, everybody does.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And we encourage that with all of our employee owners as well. We make sure to give people mental health days, for example, which is a new benefit that has been, I think, popular and probably long overdue. So we encourage things like mental health days, community service. So we have a very, very active community, organization within Butler Till that identifies ways that we can give back. So that's, a great thing, because I think more and more work for people is not just a job. I think people want to bring their whole self to the environment that they're working in. So they want opportunities to connect with each other, connect with the community, to give back, to feel like they have a sense of purpose beyond just the kind of day-to-day grind.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to do at Butler Till.
I love it. Is there a typical day for you? And if so, what does that look like?
No, and I'm so glad. And it's one of the things that drew me to this industry, many years ago, is that no 2 days really looks alike. I have the pleasure of working with a lot of different clients and a lot of different industries. So I get to learn a lot of different industries, which is fascinating to me.
So you're still involved with clients, not only
absolutely.
running the teams.
No, absolutely. Very involved with clients. I love meeting with our clients and kind of seeing the fruits of our labor. Our industry, I don't need to tell you this, but is constantly changing. It's very dynamic. And so learning new ways to connect our clients with their respective consumers through new technology. Today I'm learning more and more about AI and the application it has not only to our business, but also to our clients' business. Just new technology in general, new channels of communication, new offerings that we have developed to meet different client needs. So not only is no 2 days alike, no 2 years are alike. Everything is constantly moving.
Keeps it fresh.
It does keep it fresh.
Yeah. No, I like that. I think leaders like you, just need to put some new water through the gills every day, right?
I like that aspect of my job.
Yeah.
Being able to meet with new people, whether they're clients, whether they're employees, whether they're partners, whether community leaders, people like you, just talking to new people, having new experiences.
Yeah. Well, whenever I see you, you look happy. So
Thank you.
Whatever you're doing is working.
I am happy. Yes.
So the third trifecta is you are certified B Corp. What does that mean?
Yes. So benefit corporation. So every year we go through a very, very rigorous certification process. And what it really means is that we are a company that believes that our obligation is not only to our shareholders for financial gain. So in our case, our shareholders also happen to be our employees. So there's that aspect of it. But we also believe that we have other stakeholders that we are accountable to, including our clients, including the community, including the environment, including our supply chain and partners. And so we really look at the entire picture to make sure that we are being good corporate citizens. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. But the certification process, like I said, is quite rigorous. And it not only has companies fulfill a certain kind of minimum level of requirements, but every single year you have to be able to demonstrate that you're continually raising the bar. So our certification for this year is more rigorous than it was last year, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so every year you need to get recertified.
Yes, it focuses on continual improvement. And so there are a number of different metrics that we look to. Again, it's related to supply chain, to the environment, to employee benefit practices to client practices, you name it.
Yeah.
And we have to demonstrate that we are really holding ourselves to the highest level of standard.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, it's working for you.
Yeah, it is
So,
working for us. I think one of the things that it does when you talk about that trifecta of being women-owned and led, being an employee-owned company, and being a B Corp, is it tends to attract a certain type of person and other companies. And so we get people that want to work with us, work for us, who have similar values, which I think is really important. So, we have a lot of purpose-driven individuals and purpose-driven clients.
Yeah, I love that, purpose-driven. That's fantastic. So when you started 15 years ago, the whole world of advertising, marketing, et cetera, was very different. I know you were hired as to do digital marketing, run digital marketing, which was very different back then, right?
Yeah.
And now
I get a lot of chuckles internally for new people that realize that I was the vice president of digital media because I couldn't really be in a position to execute any digital media campaign today. It's changed so dramatically from when I started.
Well, what's it back then? Like a little social media here and there, right?
Yeah, we had Google. Google was around, but that was before things like programmatic and dynamic creative and all of the other technology, all of the different targeting technologies and tools that we have today. The measurement aspects were just nascent, and today we're doing things like advanced analytics with machine learning and just all sorts of things.
The phones are listening, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing. So think back where we were 15 years ago, and even then, print, radio, TV were still pretty relevant. Whereas now, I mean,
they're still around.
They're still around, but I think as we evolve more and more, they're a piece of the pie, but it's getting a little smaller, it seems like.
That is true.
As we go in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, in the future, what do you think some of the changes are going to be? I know we're looking at AI changes, and how's that going to affect everything? What are your thoughts?
I think AI is going to have, this is how I would say it, I think we're probably overestimating the short-term impact of AI. So I know that it's kind of at this peak in terms of the buzz factor of AI, and every company is trying to figure out what it means for them. So short term, it probably isn't going to have as big of a change as we think it's going to. Long term, I think we're probably underestimating the impact that it's going to have on our business, on really all businesses. And so it's definitely something that we need to follow. And then other changes in the industry, I think the way that consumers consume media is continually changing. And so the channels that we will be using to reach individuals will be probably different, more evolved, and also our ability to really reach people on a one-to-one yet very scalable way is continually evolving. So for us to be able to target an individual, maybe anonymously, but to say, this is the piece of content that's most relevant to Dave Mamano, and making sure that that's something that might be relevant to you, but not to somebody else. And so no longer quote unquote mass media, but highly, highly targeted and individualized. More
and more of a customized experience.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it. Well, it is funny because I think, like you said, a lot of people think AI is, well, we'll see it's going to go very, like we don't understand it, right? Most people.
Right.
And reminds me of 1995 with the internet. Like, well, let's see where this thing goes. It's like, oh.
Yes. Well, and like one simple analogy I think of is, back in the late 90s, I guess early 2000s, I'm trying to get my timing right, maybe a little bit later than that, but you had, first when websites were coming out, and you had clients say, well, I need a website, but they didn't know what to do with it, and they didn't know why they needed it. And then Facebook was introduced, and people said, well, I need a Facebook page. But yet again, there wasn't really thought to like, well, why do you need a Facebook page, and how are you going to use it? And that's where we are with AI. Everybody thinks they need AI, and they may, but without taking time to stop to think about like, what is the application, what's the purpose, and how are you going to use it effectively? You're just kind of doing it to say that you're doing it.
Right, but instead of being scared of it, try to embrace it, right?
Yeah, try to embrace it, I would say, strategically.
With an expert.
Yeah, and to think through, what is it that you're trying to do. I think that there's a lot of applications from a productivity and efficiency standpoint. That's where most companies tend to start, is how can we use AI to help us do the things that we already do faster, better, smarter.
I love it. Sounds like you.
Yeah.
Faster,
Thank
better.
you.
Well, Kimberly Jones, this has been so fantastic. I appreciate it.
Thank you. That was it. That did go by very, very fast.
We've been talking for an hour and a half. No, I'm just kidding. If people
thank you for having me.
Of course, thanks for coming out here. If people are so excited about this interview, and they want to reach out to you, where can they find you? Where they can find you, Butler Till?
Yeah, so reach out. You can reach out directly. You can find me on LinkedIn. Easy to find at Butler Till. Would happy to talk to anybody.
Yeah, yep. And you do get back to people pretty quickly.
I do.
Yep. Either you or your assistant.
I think
right?
I'm pretty responsive. Yeah.
You are. Well, thanks again, and I wish you continued massive success. And thanks for being such a great spark for our community and beyond.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for watching another great episode, maybe the best episode of the Optimize Show. Truly appreciate it. Again, every Wednesday morning, check us out. We have our website. We have YouTube. We're actually on Spotify as a podcast version. And please help us share, like, spread the word. Truly appreciate it. Thanks again so much. And make sure to stay awesome.